Once upon a time, in a peaceful village, there lived an old farmer. The farmer had a small field where he cultivated crops. Every day he had to water his field, but there was a problem. The river was very far from his field. Every morning he walked a long distance to bring water for his crops. This made him very tired and left him with little energy for other work. But one evening, as the farmer sat under a tree, he thought to himself, if I buy a well near my field, I won't have to walk so far. I will save time and effort. This idea gave him hope. He decided to save time and money and buy a well. The farmer worked hard and he cut down his expenses, avoided unnecessary spending, and saved every rupee he could. It took him many months, but finally he had enough money to buy a well. He felt proud of his efforts and was excited about the future. And the next day, the farmer went around the village looking for wells that were for sale. After a long search, he found a well that was perfect. It was near his field, and the water in it was clear and abundant. The farmer was very happy. This is exactly what I need, he said to himself. The well belonged to a man named Raghu, who was known in the village for being clever and tricky. The farmer approached Raghu and said, Brother, I want to buy your well. How much are you selling it for? Raghu smiled slyly and said, Dear farmer, you have chosen the best well in the village. It will cost you a good amount. The farmer was ready with his savings. They agreed on a price and the farmer handed over the money. Raghu took the money, wrote a simple agreement, and the deal was done. The farmer was overjoyed. He thanked Raghu and went home with a big smile on his face. And the next morning, the farmer woke up early. He was excited to draw water from his new well and water his field. He took his buckets and ropes and went to the well. As he lowered the bucket to draw water, Raghu appeared. Stop right there, Raghu shouted. The farmer was surprised and asked, Why should I stop? I bought this well from you. Yes, Raghu said with a wicked smile. You bought the well, but I never sold you the water inside it. If you want to use the water, you must pay me extra money. The farmer was shocked. What are you saying? He asked. When I bought the well, I thought the water came with it. You assumed, said Raghu. But assumption don't count in business. You should have asked. Raghu laughed and walked away. The farmer stood by the well, helpless and sad. He realized Raghu had cheated him. He sat down under a tree, wondering what to do next. That evening, a neighbor came to him and asked why he looked so upset. The farmer told him the entire story. The neighbor shook his head and said, Raghu is a cunning man, but don't worry, go to the king's court. The king is fair and wise. He will help you. The farmer had hope again. The next morning, he dressed in his simple clothes and walked to the king's court. The court was grand and full of important looking people. The farmer bowed and said, "Your Majesty, I need your help." The king looked kindly at him and said, "Speak without fear." The farmer told the king everything, how he had bowed the well, how Raghu had tricked him, and how he was being asked to pay again for the water. The king frowned. "This sounds unjust," he said. He ordered his guard to bring Raghu to the court immediately. When Raghu arrived, he bowed and said, "Your Majesty, I am an honest man. The farmer is trying to misuse my water. I sold him the well, but not the water." The king was puzzled. "You sold the well," he said, "but not the water." "Exactly," Raghu said confidently. "The agreement clearly mentions the well. There is no word about the water." The king thought deeply but could not find a simple solution. So he turned to his vice minister, who was known for his intelligence. The minister listened carefully to both sides. Then he smiled and said, "Your Majesty, the case is simple. Raghu is right. He sold the well, not the water." Raghu's face lit up with triumph. The minister continued, "If the water belongs to Raghu, then he has no right to keep it in the farmer's well. He must either pay rent for storing his water there or remove it immediately." Raghu's smile vanished. He realized his trick had failed. The king laughed and said, "Minister, you have solved the case brilliantly." Raghu fell to his knees and said, "I am sorry, Your Majesty. I tried to cheat the farmer. I will not do it again." The king ordered Raghu to pay a fine and compensate the farmer for the trouble caused. The farmer went home happily and his field flourished with the well's water. The story teaches that our actions determine our fate. If we try to cheat others, we will eventually suffer the consequences. On the other hand, honesty, patience, and seeking justice through the right means will always lead to a fair outcome. Just as ministers maintain fairness, life also ensures that good deeds are rewarded and deceit does not last forever. Thus, karma teaches to act with integrity and fairness, as every action has its consequences. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, hit like button, and for more such stories, subscribe to our channel. Thank you and stay positive.